Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3, Episode 4. Kim Possible. If you are new here, then welcome. If you are back for a second or third time or a fourth time and you have not yet subscribed, but you keep coming back just to see what I was doing, honey, and see if I'm gonna get into it as I get into it, go ahead and stop, like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. All right, so when the episode first opens up, it picks up where it left off with the mess, okay? Tiffany was like, I remember it kind of bad. Girl, please, the way you delivered that, honey, you did not feel bad in the slightest. So, Destiny's in the restroom, so one of Destiny's friends went in to check on her. Mel, honey, this would be a great time for you to be there for her. You were doing all that hollering about, girl, you ain't coming when I take her. You were doing all of that, but I didn't see you move. Honey, you sat in that seat the entire time. I would have liked for you to go in and see if Destiny was okay. You did bring this lady. So Kimmie is like, well, that took her by surprise. So Tiffany is saying, it was like years ago, like 3 years ago. Kimmie said, no, I don't think it was, honey, and I don't think it was either. So then Tiffany was like, well, I didn't mean to make her have to go to the restroom to cheer herself up. Baby, it is the shade in these confessionals for me. She's still with the lady, just stop talking, honey, please, just stop talking. So her friend is like, it doesn't even matter. She's talking to Destiny because they're inside. She's like, it doesn't even matter. That part is over. She said, still, yes, it's over, but I still have feelings, so I'm still going through those feelings. And still no mail, okay? And she wonders why Destiny doesn't share with her. I mean, well, you're still sitting, and I'm going to keep saying that until you get up. And honey, she never did. So she said, the last thing she wanted to do was think about her divorce on her birthday. And she doesn't know why this lady is bringing this up. And it's something that happened years ago. So then she comes back to the table. She's like, why did you think it was me? Did it look like me? So then Tiffany was like, well, it happens. A lot of men in business, they're out with women. Girl, please. You had that tidbit of information. You've been watching the show at home or wherever. You claimed you didn't know the ladies, but you actually did. And you brought the mess to the table, honey, courtesy of being Mel's +1. Ciao, goodbye. Tiffany is like, well, it just happens. So then Mel said, well, was he a cheater? I mean, if he wasn't cheating, then you don't have anything to worry about as far as this business partner is concerned. I mean, was he cheating? Mel, is this your idea of support? Honey, why do you keep asking this lady, is he cheating? And why would she admit it in front of Tiffany? She was like, no, he wasn't. So then in the confessional, Destiny said, I am not Martell. I don't need to justify my divorce. I was in labor for 3 days and then COVID hit and my marriage is just one of the ones that didn't make it through the pandemic. Well, Destiny, I have to say this, okay, in response to that and whatnot, okay? I understand your plight. Trust me, I've been there. I went off last review in honor of you, even though you're not my favorite, but let me just say, if you're going to remain on this show, honey, you're going to have to share some of your stuff too. You're going to have to share some aspects of your life. You can't just sit and hem and haw and fight with Mel and think we're not going to ask the burning questions. Now, I knew someone right last season when I never saw that man in that empty house that you claimed that you were decorating for the two of you plus the baby. But now we're here on this season and now we know that the two of you are divorced. This messy boots lady came and tried to bring some tea that was served cold. But we're going to need you to open up just a little bit more, okay? Honey, just a little bit more. Moving forward, Tiffany gets up to go to the restroom, right? And Mel looks at Kimmie and says, you like Tiffany? Girl, no, we don't like Tiffany. Child, Mel getting a little enjoyment out of that stunt she pulled. Honey, that was not cool at all. Destiny over there sipping her drink like, no, we don't. Not I. I know that's right, child. Not I, said the cat. Honey, nobody likes her but you. So Kimmie said, yeah, I do. So Mel is like, the two of you got off to such a rocky start, but I knew the two of you would be friends. So then Destiny said, yeah, even Martell said that me and Kimmie would make good friends. Kimmie said, yeah, because people look at me all the time saying something about Destiny. So Kimmie said, yeah, Martell and Mel were right. We do have a lot in common. And I rock with her. She's my sister from another mister. Now listen, I don't quite see it. I don't see what they have in common. But if Kimmie says it's so, then I guess it's so, honey. But I'm glad they found some common ground. So then they bring out this cake and Destiny is like, let me get some birthday sex. Birthday sex. Birthday sex. She said, oh, I'm sorry, I mean cake. I know that's right, child. I know it's been a while. So Mel said, well, make sure Jalen in the house before 10, girl. Looking at Kimmie. Kimmie said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I need to take his keys. So Tiffany gonna look over there and say, well, honey, he's not even fully grown yet. Tiff, honey, sit this one out. Okay, eat your slice of cake and hush. Kimmie is like, that's a grown ass man. And is. Child, I'm still not feeling Tiffany, honey. They trying to make fetch happen and it ain't happening over here. Moving forward, back in H-Town, Marsau shows up with his one rolling suitcase. I'm like, child, where's your suit? I was thinking, like, why do you have just this little mini suitcase? But I guess he's going to buy his things once he gets there. So he said, you know, he hopes that Tisha is not mad at him because he had to come down a little bit later. Baby, Tisha opens up that door in her lingerie. Okay, Tisha, honey, I love to see it. Honey, you better sex it up for your man. Marsau was like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that, but I'll take it. So I'm thinking they about to get into it as they get into it, and they going to fade to black and go to the next scene, right? This man starts sitting down talking about business. She's sitting there looking sexy, and he's talking about all the things that need to get done. She's like, hello, can we appreciate this? He was like, well, it is a business trip. Oh, no, ma'am. Baby, that spark is all the way blown out. Do y'all hear me? All the way. I feel so embarrassed for Tisha. Like, the nerve of you to have me sitting on your lap in this sexy getup, and I came to the door waiting for you to take me and ravish me, knowing you ain't even took a bath, honey, just came from the airport and whatnot, and you just gonna sit here and talk to me about business? Honey, this is so awkward. So then she tells him, you know, she called Jalen to make sure Black was good, and Jalen said, man, I got this. I've done this before when you guys aren't here. So then he was like, yeah, you know, I'm having people go by and check on him. Honey, if y'all were all that word, you should have hired a GM that you could have trusted. So she was like, yeah, and I also did a little shopping with Jasmine, who is a stylist, and she's trying to make sure she's looking her best for the event, right? He's worried about who's going to be fiscally responsible. Well, let me tell you this. This is what happens when you don't want your wife to work so you can cheat in peace, allegedly. Honey, you foot the bill. So no matter how much she's spending, she should be able to spend it, okay? Because you are the one who wants her locked up in the house 24 hours a day with those kids. So then he's like, well, I'll call Jasmine and tell her what the budget is, and then we can work things out from there. So Tisha was like, no, you tell me and I'll tell them. Honey, Tisha ain't stupid. She don't want you calling nobody because she knows you a flirt. Okay, she ain't trusting nothing you doing. Marsau ruined the entire mood. Your wife is here in something sexy and you're doing all this talking. Honey, I would have been so offended. In the next scene, Kimmie and Maurice sit down, right? And she tells him she went to Destiny's birthday lunch and met this lady named Tiffany. She was like, do you know her? And Maurice was like, yeah, I know her. You know, her husband is a coach for the baseball team or whatever. They play baseball together or whatever he was saying, right? So Kimmie said, well, apparently she came full of information. So Monster was vaping in the restroom and she let us all know. He said, how does she know? But of course I know, but how does she know? Well, she knew because her husband actually talks to her. They communicate, okay? He told her what all's doing, and that's the way that she knows it. Honey, is this something that maybe you should adopt? Child. So Kimmie is like, well, I was like a deer in headlights because she's just talking and I had no idea. Yes, Maurice, a conversation with your wife would have been helpful. So she's not out here looking crazy, honey, not knowing what to say. She could not even defend Monster because she had no idea this was even going on. Child, Maurice was getting on my nerves in this scene, honey. He said, well, why is she saying that? I don't even know these people. I don't even know her. Tiff seems like somebody I'm not going to get along with. I understand, honey, because I know I'm not feeling her either. Okay. But at the same time, don't try to deflect and don't try to put your anger off on Tiffany because you're upset that she exposed something that you wanted to keep just between you and Monster. Some people actually talk to their spouses and now it's out and now we're here. So carry on. He said, you know, Monster has never been in trouble. Now, his grades might not be the best, but he's never really just been in trouble. And by her repeating that in front of people, it makes him look like a deviant and paints Monster in a stigma. No, the stigma starts at home by you calling him Monster. Like, stop calling that young man that name. That is not cute. Calling him Monster is painting something as well. But yes, I do agree, honey, kids are off limits. And why would that be the first thing you say to someone upon meeting them? Like, Tiffany was just all wrong. And I don't care how she tried to justify it or whatever. She was all wrong and she ain't nothing right about it. So Maurice is pissed about her sharing things about his child. I hear you, Maurice, especially our young black boys, okay? Society has already painted them as scary. The last thing they need is to be looked at sideways from secondhand information. I understand that. You calling him Monster does not help with people being afraid of him as a young black man. Okay. But aside from that, why didn't you tell your wife so she's not in the dark? Honey, we're not going to let that go. Child. So Kimmie said, so now is the time that you need to talk to him about things that may happen as a young man. Kimmie said, there's no work-life balance. And she's accepted that it's imbalanced with her. There's been no honeymoon. There's been no this, that, and the third. And he's like, I told you to pick the honeymoon and we'll go. That's not what she's saying. She's saying you need to prioritize your family, okay, especially your son. And it's never too early to teach him. He's like, well, I thought this was going to be for high school. He's in the 8th grade. Honey, 8th grade is almost too late. You should maybe start in the 5th grade. He is a young black man in America. Honey, I'm starting now and he's 6. I'm already telling him this is what needs to be done. And I can't really just tell him what a man needs to instill in him because I'm a woman. But at the same time, it's never too early to start the conversation. And what was the reason for him coming to live with you if you're not available to teach him nothing, honey? If you're not available to teach him life lessons, what was the reason? Child, so they're going back and forth. Maurice is being stubborn. He's talking and Kimmie is like, sure, babe. Yeah, sure. So then he tells Kimmie that he had the conversation after it happened and said he wouldn't say anything. So that's why she didn't know. And he talked to his mom about it as well, which is Kiowa. He's like, do you think I should have told you? Yeah. She said, I'm used to it. I'm on a need to know basis. You want to instill in him what's in you. And I understand that. He said facts. And part of the reason why I want to do that is because I'm a successful black man, so I know what it takes. Kimmie says, well, you know what? I just feel like my input is often not desired, so I'm not saying nothing, honey. I ain't piping up, not speaking my speech, because you don't really care what I got to say. He's like, why do you think I don't want to include you with anything? Why do you think I want everyone to meet? She said, so we can be on the same page. But I do not think it's so I can give my 2 cents, honey, and it's not. Maurice is like, well, your input is valuable. I mean, look at Jalen. He's a success story. She's like, yeah, you say that, but when I try to offer my input, you don't want it. Kimmie said, look, I have no idea why Maurice won't accept my suggestions. I guess because I did such a god-awful job on Jalen. Kimmie, honey, now that's passive aggressive. Okay, if it's something you want him to know, you being the communicator and all, just look at him straight in the face and say, hey, I'm not happy. I'm not happy I'm being neglected emotionally. I'm not happy at you being gone 24 hours a day. I know there's an end goal in mind, but at the same time, we have to find a way to make time for us. Okay? Not sit here and say, I did such an awful job on Jalen, so I kind of understand. Honey, don't do that. He doesn't accept it because he's a Scott man. Okay? They beat their chests. This is from what I've seen. Okay? And act like their way is the only way. Marsau treats Tisha the exact same way. He's just more blatant in his approach. Those brothers are one and the same, child. Maurice is the same as Marsau. Maurice is just a little bit more subdued than Marsau is. But if the last name is Scott and they're brothers, 9 times out of 10, they're going to treat their women like they should be barefoot and pregnant. Moving forward, Marsau and Kimmie go to Lucille's to meet his uncle Mike and his wife for dinner, right? So Tisha is telling them it's almost 15 years and she's trying to get him to do something a little special. So Marsau starts with the antics. I feel like it's a year of reflection. When we first got together, we were so in love. So I feel like this year we should just celebrate the love. Boy, shut up. So Tisha is like, well, it's going to be 15 years and I hope to share my 20th in our new home. Here she go. She got to be passive aggressive as well, child. Marsau starts talking about the plans for the house, right? And I guess Uncle Mike sent him an email and he was upset about it. Marsau said he never wants to have a relationship where one person feels slighted. Marsau, have you met your wife? You make her feel slighted all the time. But go ahead, set yourself off. He said, the contractors, the subs, and all of these, they're not getting the job done. Marsau is not happy about how long things are taking, right? So Uncle Mike said, well, on the other side of the table, that's what's causing the delay. Basically, all this back to the drawing board that y'all doing is holding y'all up. Cut it out. So then they asked about Maurice and Kimmie moving to Scott Manor, right? So Tisha's like, well, don't share our plans with them because Maurice is trying to one-up us. Uncle Mike said, well, all of my things are copyrighted and it's going to be confidential, so you're going to be cool. Honey, that is childish. Is it really a competition? I do not think that you and Kimmie, Maurice and Marsau have the same style. Honey, it's shown in all kinds of different ways. So I don't think that they're going to come over there and steal your blueprint. I think you'll be fine. In the next scene, Kimmie and Jalen get to this condo and the two of them are going to renovate it together. Honey, I love doing that kind of stuff. I can't wait till my son gets all older so that we can do things like this together. Jalen is telling Kimmie that he's told Marsau that he needs some time off because he feels overworked, but it's just not clicking in Marsau's head. But let me tell you something. That's the restaurant industry. There are no days off, especially as a general manager. You may get 1 or 2 months, 2 days a month, but restaurant schedules are grueling. Now, I don't know if any of my subscribers are in the restaurant industry, but if you are, honey, pipe up down in the comments and let me know if you've experienced that, because when I worked in restaurants, there were no off days. Even holidays, you were working because the restaurant is open. Now, I do understand not working people to death. They have to have, a work-life balance. That's why when I do an interview, the first thing I ask is, when they say, do you have any questions for us? I say, how is the work-life balance here? Am I going to be able to thrive in my personal life and work for you as a company? Because those are some things that you need to know, honey. You ain't going to be working me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of a year. Honey, it don't work like that. He's like, it's not like I can't do it, but I'm there all the time. So Kimmie was like, well, the reason is probably because of the percentage. Now, remember, Marsau said he was going to give Jalen a percentage of the restaurant, which I think is some bull, child. Probably 1%. He can't be trusted. So he starts telling Kimmie that, they're all calling him from Houston like he's going to blow Black up. And he's been there by himself before. And they blame him for everything bad that happens at Black. Now, listen, that's not fair. Because y'all both knew that he had no formal training. So, you can't be riding him and calling him every 2 seconds if you know he doesn't have any formal training. Kimmie said, well, I feel like they set you up for failure. Marsau, yes, I do feel like that. But Tisha tried to get him to hire a more experienced general manager. But see, Marsau knows that a true GM comes with a hefty price tag. Because some general managers make upward of $150,000 a year. And I'm sure Jalen is getting nowhere near that. That's why Marsau tried to sweeten the deal by saying, and also you're going to get a percentage. Child, he really thinks somebody dumb. Honey, he wouldn't be fooling me because I'd be like, a percentage of what? This chocolate, champagne, everything else that's going on up and through here. Because other than that, I'm going to need $150,000 as your general manager. Child, please. So he's telling Kimmie that he's getting conflicting information from Tisha and Marsau. So she's like, well, they're not on the same page, child. Kimmie said hands-on training is the best way that you can learn. And she made mistakes as well. Even as a nurse, she left an entire patient outside. She said the patient was fine, honey, but show me the proof. Child, I need to see it, honey. I can't take your word for it. If the patient happens to be one of my subscribers, please comment down below. I'm just kidding with you. But please comment down below, child. But seriously, he'll get it eventually, honey. It's going to take some time. But in my honest opinion, I don't foresee him doing this for long. I don't think he enjoys it. I don't think he enjoys working for Marsau. There's no organization. Honey, everything is just everywhere. And child, I think he'll be gone in 2 years tops. So they talk about the assistant GM coming in to help. Kimmie's like, well, you know her. And he's like, yeah, but she knows the younger me. And Kimmie said that Marsau is not going to admit that he was wrong by not hiring an assistant. Now, this is why I feel y'all all wrong. She said she feels like an assistant GM is long overdue. No. Okay? Jalen should have been the assistant GM. You don't bring an assistant in to teach the general manager. That makes absolutely no sense, honey. That's backwards. Jalen, not having any experience in the restaurant industry or even, managing a business in general, he should have been the assistant and they should have hired a real general manager to pull things through. But Marsau did things on the slick side. He is a shyster, honey. He gonna hire Jalen as the general manager because he knows he can pay him pennies on the dollar and then hire another one as an assistant because as an assistant, you're not making what a GM would make. And that way he can cut costs and cut corners. Child, moving forward. So then they started talking about him having a crush on Destiny. Honey, I think she might have a crush on Jalen, judging from these flashbacks. But honey, that's neither here nor there. He was like, nah, she cool, but she not my type. But, they like me. And so Kimmie was like, who is they? And she was like, well, you know what they call me? They call me the Cougar Tamer. Boy, who called you that? Boy, don't nobody call you that. I don't have time to play with you, child. Let's keep going, child. That title and him in that suit got Destiny's attention. That's what that was, child. So it's the night of the chocolate in a bottle tasting, right? The people of Houston are showing up, looking good. Okay, H-Town. And the turnout is actually amazing. Marsau is working the room. The Ready to Love crew is in the building. On network representing. Honey, I see Nephew Tommy and his wife. You know, Nephew Tommy probably waiting for a round of applause. Y'all know how he like to do. Now, everybody, this explains Kyra and her plunging neckline getting pulled Tisha's nerves all bad. Kyra in that same wig, wearing that red dress, she's there because of the Ready to Love crew. Okay, now I know I'm trying to do some trickery with this production, but y'all, it ain't what y'all think it is. So Marsau is asking Nephew Tommy about Midtown and, you know, where to put his establishment. Now listen, Midtown is where it's popping. I ain't gonna lie. The crowd there is very diverse. No matter, you know, what area of Houston you live in, people will make their way to Midtown. Okay, that is a fact. Downtown is also a good spot for your location. If you're looking for something that is, I won't say central, but something that draws the people in, downtown and midtown, anything with a town will be all right if you're in Houston. Okay, but parking is terrible in both midtown and downtown. I just want you to know that. But I want to say this. I'm very proud of Tisha and Marsau. They monopolized off of this time on the show, honey, and I love to see our people shine. This is major. I love it. Now, at first, I thought this was going to be a shim-sham. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm like, y'all, they finna open this up, honey. Going to be closed down when the season starts up again because they're going to blame it on the pandemic, write it off, get a PPP loan, and call it a day. But they didn't do that. And I love it. I love it. Marsau said, you know, we're in 53 different countries. And he's just very proud to be part owner of this chocolate champagne. Now, it don't sound good to me. Because I don't drink champagne and I can't imagine dousing some chocolate in there. But honey, some people like chocolate drinks. There are chocolate martinis. There are all kinds of chocolate drinks that you can partake. So it might be good. Honey, I might take a little swig. I'm not a drinker, but I am a supporter of my people. Okay. I want to see us all win. But Marsau, okay, I'm listening to you. And I'm gonna need you to please include Tisha when you speak of being part owner, when you do your speeches, when you work the room. Include your wife. Child, y'all getting on my nerves. As Marsau scoots his way over to introduce himself to Kyra, Tisha pops up like, hey, honey, I know that's right, Tisha, honey. Go make sure everything is everything. Baby, you know your man. Go over there and make sure everything's okay. He's like, you know, everyone is ready to love. Chocolate in a bottle, that is. Not any of the people in here, though. Marsau, shut up. So, Marsau, is Kyra in your top as well? Honey, she was in everybody else's. So, we just want to know, are you ready to love? Because I'm just saying, they painting this narrative that you over here looking at Kyra. But I'm here to tell you right now, honey, Kyra is not looking at you. So, then they step outside to talk. And Tisha's like, I had to go snatch you up. I saw that girl in the red dress. She was eyeing you. Child, she not gonna bother Marsau, honey. She chooses herself more often than not. Clearly, you didn't watch this season of Ready to Love. Child, she is not worried about Marsau. As a typical man playing dumb, he's talking about who? Honey, you know who. She's like, well, I saw her if you didn't. Tisha, okay? Your insecurities are shining bright as the stars in Texas, honey. You let these blogs get to you. Do you trust Marsau? Honey, I know you don't. You ain't got to answer. It was just a rhetorical question. But I know that there will never be anything that anyone can say to make you feel secure. So you guys may need to do therapy. But I'm just saying, honey, don't let these blogs get to you in regards to your marriage. Now, you know your man better than anybody else, or you wouldn't be feeling insecure. But the bottom line is that's no way to be in a marriage. Y'all going to have to fix it. Honey, and I can almost guarantee you that there will be no business trips to Houston alone, honey. And that's that on that. Moving forward. He's like, you know, I'm serving up chocolate in a bottle. She's like, well, I hope that's the only thing you serving up and not chocolate in a suit. I know. That was a good one, Tisha. I loved it. So then she starts crying out of nowhere. I don't know if the production chopped that up or what's happening. But let's just say for the show's sake that she was crying about the situation. I understand her getting teary-eyed. People were like, what's she crying for? Listen, her husband barely blinked twice at her in that lingerie. Then he is gawking at Miss Not Ready to Love. Her boobs are on display. She got a wig on, sitting to the left. She's insecure in their marriage right now. So I understand her being teary-eyed. And of course, it's Marsau, and it's like talking to a brick wall. So even if she says to him, hey, I'm feeling a little bit insecure in our relationship. I'm not feeling as safe as I used to. He gonna find a way to make a joke out of it, find a way to deflect, and find a way to pacify her for the moment. So, I mean, of course she's crying. In the last scene, Kimmie and Maurice go for a sit down with Kiowa and her husband, right? And as they're sitting there waiting, they're talking about her and Kiowa's relationship. He said, I fostered you guys' relationship and it getting better. She said, no, you didn't. You gave her what she wanted so you could get Monster. Baby, she gonna check Maurice each and every time. So they order their food, right? And as they're waiting, Maurice is like, I really gotta go. I got a meeting with this lawyer. I gotta go to work. And they're running behind. They have like 7 minutes. And he wants Kimmie to talk for him. She's like, no, I'm not gonna be able to do it. And this is my thing. Why would you even schedule the meeting for this time if you knew you had to get up and leave? Honey, it smells like a setup. Child, and as he's leaving out the door, they're coming in. But guess what? If I was Kimmie, I would be leaving out the door as well. Child, ain't no way I'm finna sit down and have a conversation with Kiowa. And you already know this lady really is not feeling me because allegedly I was the woman that caused you all to break up. Child, no ma'am, Pam. Honey, and that was the end of the episode. It was pretty good to me. I would give it an 8. And the reason why I give it an 8 is because there was no Martell Holt. Please do not hesitate to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below exactly what you felt about this episode. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.